Greetings everyone, my name is FlareBlitzed and welcome to 4 Alice Magical Autistic Girls. Try and say that 20 times in a row. But aside that, this game is about magical girls who are all named Alice. Yes, like an orange, I'm a 16-year-old Quebecer as I continue walking down to my high school. My dear, what was I say, dear from? My red hair, wavy and down to mid-back, seem to rise in rhythm with my steps. It makes me feel like I'm doing a weird dance, like I'm fated to be a magical girl who also has autism as well. Chapter 1, Chaos at School and Home. Okay, when I tried to originally go through this game, I got really bad frame issues. So if anybody else gets that issue, then what I'd say is press F3 and then change from power save to performance, which you can see on the top left section of the screen, and then that hopefully should remove the frame rate issues, although that hasn't come to pass with all games made in Wimpy. Anyways, technical issues beside the point, let's get into the playthrough. I look down, I see my blue jeans, I look at my feet, they are wearing sporty lace-up shoes. My feet are moving, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I raise my head to look ahead, but I take the time to look at my black coat. It hides my green long sleeve shirt. I never liked black, but I'm not complaining. It's too much trouble with the others. What do you mean by with the others? Who are these others that you refer to? Let's see. In front of me there are buildings. Above the sky, the sun, the clouds. It would be nice to be a cloud. A cloud can't fear anything. I'm pretty sure it could. A cloud's life is simple. Let's see now. We absorb things like knowledge, information, emotions, understanding, and clouds absorb moisture. In different ways. It could be harmless moisture, such as rain, or harmful moisture, such as acid. Let's see, little by little I am drifting away from reality.
Sauvegarde.
Do we snap ourselves out of it, or do we keep on daydreaming? I think we're going to do that. Let's see. I keep on daydreaming, it's so much more enjoyable. Oh, a bird. I love this little bird. I like birds in general. Being a bird would be nice too. To spend my days flying, singing. I picture myself in all kinds of forms. From a bird to a cat. From a cat to rain. From rain to a simple rock. I'd say that sometimes in the first line, it does kind of load up the words of the second line below it. If there are words below it, that is. But I have to go to school. Oh no, school? No, my math assignment. I glance at my cheap digital watch, which is also black. It's 8:15. AM? Well, it is still sunshine, so it has to be AM. Class starts at 8. No, I am late. So, what are we going to do about that? And I run to school, but I don't take the time to look carefully before crossing a busy street. You should always look. I would rather be at school 5 seconds later if it means I'm going to get there in one piece. So therefore get there at all. And a car hits you. Goodness sakes, why did you allow that? It's like that one clip that keeps playing over and over from Zombieland Saga, I believe it's called, where the protagonist just goes into a corpse launch sort of thing. The impact is very violent. I pass out, and later on, Alice Lorange, a 16-year-old Quebec girl who lived in 6 millennial past away, she leaves behind her mother, Rayleigh Lorange, her father, Sean Mavis, so they haven't married yet, and her classmates. Or they decide not to, the mother didn't decide, or the father didn't decide to switch surnames. The ghostly figure of a red-haired teenager materializes and she reads the newspaper. Alice Orange. I wonder who she is, but I'm sure she has never had any friends. Oh, don't say that. But why am I here? And who am I? You are that one girl, for goodness sakes. Great. Premature end, don't be late. Well, we kind of already would be, even though we would snap out of our thinking pattern. So yeah, don't be late. And oh, the menu changed. Oh, it's for credits, that's right. It is a lovely credits. Let's take the time to see all of the different people and assets that went involved into the creation of this game. Music license is by extended license. Sound effects are by freesound.org. Sound effects license by Creative Commons 0. And the theme song, music arrangements, lyrics and vocals by Martha Helen. All different names. Also we get to meet the different Alices throughout the game. User interface design, UI'd. Fonts. Then we have background images. CG eventy images. And then from there, the newspaper, obviously. So we're just barely scratching the surface here. Game logo. Splash screen logo image. It is very, very polite as a content creator to go over the credits when you see them. And title, splash, etc. My bad. You know I'm not very good at pronouncing. I also turn voiceovers off for the majority of the game because it's all in French. No disrespect, but French is not my primary language, and I don't understand French. I know you could say that, well, the words are on screen, but I don't know. Right, let's get out of our thinking pattern if we can. Right, little by little I'm drifting away from reality. Nope, please do not. Thank you. No. I shake my head sharply. Get a grip. You have to go to school. What time is it? Is it 8:15? Is it 8:15? I'm glad. Sorry, I glanced at my cheap digital watch. Oh, it's 7:45. So I spent half an hour just wandering off into space. Well, I still have time, but I can't dawdle anymore. I look ahead again and keep moving. Keep moving, moving, moving. Keep moving, moving, moving. My name is Alice L'Orange. Yes, like an orange, I am a 16-year-old Quebecer. As I continue walking to my high school, my red hair waving down the mid-back seems to raise in rhythm with my steps. That sounds like the synopsis of the game. It makes me feel like I'm doing a weird dance. Yet I remain focused. My green eyes are fixed on the objective. I have to get to school on time. And here we are at school. Possibly on time. My school's name is St. Andorra. Long ago, it used to be a religious school, but not anymore. My hometown is 6 Limenio. I don't know how to pronounce that properly. Known for its 6 historic monuments, its light displays, and its mineral water. So in this town, we are famous for our monuments, our dark illuminants, and our own Swiss, not Swiss cheese. I should feel proud to live in a famous town, but I couldn't care less. By the way, that was a hint towards my own vision novel if I ever make one. No matter where I live, the others are always there. You put others with the capitalized O there. Does that mean that they're like deities? As for my skin, it's very pale with pink undertones. Of course I have freckles. You should never be ashamed to have freckles. They are individualistic on every person that they spawn on. They have never bothered me. I arrive at St. Andorra 10 minutes later. I only have 5 minutes left to take off my coat, get my things, and go to my first class of the day. Andorra, by the way, is a country that lays between France and Spain. It's a very small piece of land in between France and Spain. Well, in comparison to France and Spain. I don't think it's that small. Let's see now. Come on, let's go. Time's a ticking. My English teacher is not going to wait around for any fools. I go to the hallway where my locker is. It's crowded. As my brain says danger and pressure builds up in my head, I push through a crowd of students. And then I reach my locker. I put away my black coat and take my textbooks for the day. Mathematics, of course it would be. I'll start with a math class. Your algebra and stuff like that. The pressure in my head immediately turns into great pain. My brain screams, danger, danger, danger! It's maths! At me, and I have to restrain myself from running away. And there is said teacher. I rush into the classroom and I go sit at my desk. My math teacher, Mr. Dupis, tells me I don't have to storm in, that I am not late, but I don't listen to him. I'm going to go at my own pace, thank you very much, and I'm going to storm in here whether you like it or not. I'm in too much pain. I have to ease the pain. Other students come in. I don't look at them, I stare at my desk. I can kind of relate to this in some ways, because I never used to really interact or socialise with other students that often at school. I prefer to just concentrate on what's in front of me rather than trying to make friends at school, but that was more like primary school, early secondary school. Whereas in later secondary school and from beyond that, I started to come out of my shell a little bit. And one of the reasons why I started the Let's Play channel several years ago is to try and remove more of that shell from me. And I can relate to this character, because I too also have autism. I don't like to try and splurt out in all of my videos, hello there, I'm a person with autism. No, I just like to just go through the day. But also as well, my autism isn't exactly what you'd call visible on the outside. It's more or less on the inside and how I pronounce my words and stuff like that. And also as well, trying to pronounce certain words just do not come to my throat. Laminate top, oak color, metal legs. I repeat this description mentally over and over again. This usually helps reduce the pain. Lamente top, oak color, metal legs. Mr. Dupis announces that class is starting. He recites the lesson while writing on the board with chalk. I don't listen to him though. Lamente top, oak color, metal legs. I can feel the other students' stares on me, although their eyes are all focused on the blackboard. Paranoia? It's going off cue, you're not calm anymore. I imagine their thoughts about me, their scorn. I cannot focus anymore. The pain, rather than decreasing, increases a notch. Do not focus on the hypothetical. No, come on, you can do it. You can hold on. Laminate, and my eyes get wet and tears start rolling down my cheeks. Survival. I can't do it. Damn. My survival. I can't hold back my sobs. Mr. Dupis, hearing me, asks if everything is okay. I force myself to look at him with my puffy eyes, and I make myself speak to him. I am fine, sir. You're not fine if you're crying. But does that mean that it's a bad thing? Absolutely not. In the most neutral tone possible, as if I had no emotions. Everyone has emotions. The teacher insists, but I wipe away my tears and tell him it will pass. Like a grey cloud. There will be other clouds that replace it that will not be grey. Survival. So Mr. Dupis resumes the lesson. I look at my desk again. My tears are still flowing. Among the others. Who are these others? And there we go. After math class, I go back to my locker. My eyes can't produce any more tears. That's nice, but my head still hurts. Run away from school is a bad idea. We should do our trademark sort of thing and save our progression for the time being. We cannot do this. We are going to run out of here. Yes, I can. Skipping school. I hurriedly put on my coat and leave for school. This is not the thing to do. Yet, the further I get away from school, the more my headache increases. Usually it's the opposite. Why? Why do I hurt so much? I knew very well why. I broke a rule. The rules, for me, are sacred. There's no way I'm breaking them, but I did. You cannot be in denial in this kind of scenario. You stick with your decisions. Don't try and break away halfway through. No. It's illogical. Unnatural, inconceivable. That's not me. A strange feeling forms in my mind. Alice Orange would never break a rule, but she did. That's not me, but it is you. It's like someone else is controlling me, forcing me to break the rules, At least that's the feeling I get. Oh, what the heck? Alice Lorange is very polite, orderly, punctual, and she never breaks rules. Never ever breaks goddamn rules. But that's not me, but it is you. I'm starting to freak out. It's impossible. Oh gosh. Then my psyche seems to break. I faint and my heart has stopped beating. Ugh, some kind of sheer insanity coming forth in the instantaneous moment. Premature end 2. Don't break rules. Nah, we're no rule breakers. Although in another timeline we were. Stay in school. Technically I can, but skipping school is against the rules. The rules are sacred to me. There's no way I'm breaking them. So I stay in school. At least my other morning classes are nice. Science and ESL. Oh, English is a second language. Okay. I see. The rest of the morning goes by very slowly. I haven't learned anything from my other classes. I was just scribbling my workbooks. Why were you doing that? Isn't that technically against the rules? Despite the protection of my green shirt's fabric, my skin soon starts to tingle, tremble, burn. Great. That and the pain. My skin is hypersensitive and paper always gives me trouble. Other rough materials too, like cardboard. Ouch. At lunchtime I head to the cafeteria to eat a meal, a simple sandwich and some vegetable juice. I eat by myself in the corner as usual. And sitting next to the others, never in a million years. So others I think Alice is referring to as everyone else. I can hardly feel the taste of my meager meal as my other senses are assaulted by this racket. An overwhelming amount of audio being put into your head, but also at the same time not just the audio that is troubling, but it's like trying to consume so many different kinds of audio. You've got audio from one person, audio from another person, and they're all trying to get into your head at once, and that can be an assault on your hearing senses, but that in some ways can affect your other senses like the sight and your tastes. All the students gossiping with each other, the sound of food trays jostling against one another, noisy eaters. So I had to leave quickly, for the hallway's temporary tranquility. My head still hurts like crazy. I'm looking forward to the start of afternoon classes. The afternoon is always a more pleasantful time for classes. Number one, you're more or less awake for the day, but also number two, you're closer to that end time. The sooner I can get out of here, the better. The hallway quickly fills with students. A cacophony of sound rises and I feel as if I'm being swallowed up by a human tide. Both a physical tide and an audible tide. I want to plug my ears, for I know it won't help, and I suddenly hear them. Mean voices. Those of the others. So you could probably think of this as, well, they're just other students going to passing by. But think of this from the perspective of somebody who is kind of more or less hypersensitive to these kind of things, and try and see things from their perspective as well. What can be normal to a particular person could be incredibly scary towards another person, per se. You will... Hey, Alice is not a weirdo, for goodness sakes. No, You are not a nice girl. That's the nicest thing I can say about that. Do you really think so? Well, yeah, she's not like us. What, mean? Nasty? Got her. I don't see the connection. All these voices. Are they real or imaginary? I can't say, but I still hear them. L'Orange? What kind of a... It's a name, okay? Just like you have a surname, I have a surname, your next door neighbor has a surname. For goodness sakes. L or... No, it's... What do you mean by low range anyways? Where do you even get that from? All the voices are laughing out loud. It hurts so much on top of my throbbing headache. Do not focus on them. Start crying again, softly, almost silently. Nobody notices me. Suddenly the bell rings. I wipe away my tears and, trying to reassure myself, I slowly walk to my classroom and see 2 female students. Your school days is a huge contribution towards what kind of person you will be when you go into jobs, for example. Because if you can't make friends at school, then it's going to be incredibly difficult to try and get yourself out of that never-ending cycle of not making friends. And those 2. Hello? Are you also called Alice? One has short black hair and a concave cut, pale skin with olive tones and blue eyes. I don't know her, but I know the other girl, much to my chagrin. Melanie Fortune. A tall blondie with brown eyes. She has pale skin with pink tones. She is 18-1 years old, and among the others, she's the one who causes me the most trouble and pain. What did you do to her? I know that she talks behind my back, that she says mean things about me, just like she did 6 years ago. Melanie had humiliated me in front of a whole class with her sharp, cruel words. I have never forgotten it. That Melanie. She's a pest. Nothing more. The girl over must be a friend. I quickly walk away from them, but I manage to hear a first name spoken by Melanie. Ethel. And I go to class. What kind of class is this? So I'm thinking when the character is grayed out that that's them thinking. And when she's coloured in, she's talking, possibly? My head hurts way too much and I don't want to cry in class again. So I start daydreaming and my body is in automatic mood like a robot. I sit at my desk, open my notebooks, pretend to write in them. The class ends. I go to the next class. I sit at my desk. The cycle repeats. And then we go home. When my day ends, I hurry to get my coat and leave school to walk home. The further I get from the school building, the more my head pain subsides. My skin, which is still burning, calms down and no longer shakes. My brain no longer screams danger. In a way, the school is kind of like a negative gravity. So the closer you go towards that gravity, the more in danger you feel like you're in. So in this case with Alice L'Orange, the school is kind of like this really negative source that pulls her in, yes, because of the rules, but also it's dangerous for her because of how she perceives this information. But then you get happier. Finally, peace and quiet. It's over. At least until the next day. Yep, there's always tomorrow. Oh dear, every day in reality, in this world, is a struggle. A strange world where I feel like I don't belong. I don't have any girlfriends, and I've never tried to make any. After all, they are others. You're categorizing everybody else under this others umbrella. As soon as I arrive in front of my house, or rather my parents' come on, it's your house as well. You're a family. So again, I have a bad feeling I'm going to have a bad time with Rayleigh. Okay, Rayleigh L'Orange is my mother. She has red hair like me, but her eyes are blue. Her skin is like mine, very pale with pink tones. What is she gonna do with this? Rayleigh works as a waitress in a restaurant. I can never remember the name of her workplace. Associate the name with like an object of sorts and then repeat it over and over in your head. Speaking of Rayleigh, as soon as I enter the house, I hear her calling me from the kitchen. Alice? Alice, is that you? How was your day at school? I don't say anything. It takes a while before I can answer, which often happens when I have to interact with others. Rayleigh doesn't like my silence. Alice, answer me. Sorry, and it was fine, Rayleigh. Say as little as possible in the same neutral tone. Come on, I understand. Like, at this time, I don't understand because I've never had this kind of relationship with my own mother of trying to just, like, push away my social cues of just not being able to communicate with her. Because I try my best to. Come on. Don't you have anything else to tell me? I feel like she's going to get angry. I hate that. Without answering her, I hang my coat in the closet and I go to the small living room which is near the kitchen. I let myself fall onto a comfortable armchair. I start to daydream, to move away from reality. All these things are categorized with the capital letter. Reality, others. When I hear footsteps, Rayleigh storms into the living room. I don't look at her, but I feel a pressure, an unhealthy tension in the air. My mother then asked me a very strange question. Why? There is always a delay before I respond to her. Why? What? I get up from the armchair. Why don't you call me Mom? That is also an interesting question. That stupid question again. How many more times do I have to answer it? This is a difficult scenario. Still, without looking at Rayleigh, I give her my answer, the one I've always given her for years. Because I do not see the need. Your name is not... Okay, so... this is tricky. Because I want to say that she is being... I don't know what you call it. Disrespectful. But this is in a way disrespectful. But you can understand why Alice is doing this in a way. Because to her... from her perspective... She possibly thinks of it in a way of why make things more complicated by having two different names. But this is a social thing as well as more of a thing to always remember by. Like, it's a very interesting scenario because it allows you to see something from a perspective which is like, I would never act like that, or why does she act like that? For heaven's sake, Alice, I am your mother. You always talk to me like I'm a total stranger. I have to be... you are... No formality. Speak casually. I'm tired of hearing your fancy words. This excessive politeness is insane. Is it so hard to call me Mom? Normally I say no, followed by Rayleigh, and I run off to my bedroom, but this time I'll try something new. Yes. Rayleigh is speechless, despite the fact that I know she's going to burst with rage. I keep talking. It's very difficult because it's illogical. I know you are my mother, you know that as well, so why say Mom? Rayleigh. Mom. Mom. Rayleigh. I feel like it saves energy by just saying Mom rather than Rayleigh. As I predicted, Rayleigh explodes with anger. She screams and I hear Sean's voice. So what's wrong with you two? Oh gosh, this happens frequently. So this is the father. Sean, full name Sean Mavis, is my father. He works as an electrician for a big company whose name I don't know. He has brown hair and eyes of that same colour. You don't remember either companies that your parents work for. His skin is darker than Rayleigh's and mine, although it is also white. Rayleigh yells at him to stay out of it, but he comes into the living room. He also seems angry, though the tone of his voice is under control. It is a controlled anger, rather than a mindless anger. It can't go on like this. We are a family. Exactly. But then again, what is normal? Not normal? Holy crap, honey. You're talking about our only daughter. I want to pass out. Yes. Her behaviour is what? What behaviour? What's wrong with being polite to your parents? I was 2 at her age. But she what? Alice has always been like that. Let it go. You need to give her room to change. You've always been on her. It's not about being on side. It's trying to keep this this situation under control of sorts, but it's also not being on a particular side of a fence when it comes to family. Like, if you have two family members who are bickering and fighting, you don't take sides. Okay, that's enough. Alice, go to your room, please. I don't dare move, I'm too scared. No, she stays here, I'm not done. She finally toned it down. No, Alice, you go to your room. Your mother and I need to have a serious talk. A serious talk? Talk about what? Our couple. Nothing is right between us anymore. You're always arguing with Alice over stuff. Over stuff? And I'm stuck taking it all in day after day. It's ridiculous. And of course she screams again. Sean yells back at her. I gather my courage and run to my bedroom. And here, even after I close the door behind me and turn on the light in my bedroom, I can still hear my parents arguing. If this keeps up, they'll break up. It won't, and it's not your fault. It's people's perception of these kind of scenarios. Man, I'm holding back tears. And it's not fair. Why does everything have to be complicated with the others? Why are Rayleigh and Sean others? I can't agree or disagree with either side. I close my eyes. Everything would be so much easier. I hear Sean call Riley a... Wow. It's very rare that he speaks in such a vulgar manner. My dad has always been a very polite person. We talked a lot when I was a kid, but as a teenager I stopped talking to him. How comes? I think hearing my voice made Rayleigh angry, and since she's already angry much of the time, I don't want to make it worse. Rayleigh, in return, calls Sean a jerk and an a-hole. I can't take it anymore. I have to disconnect from everything, from reality itself. I close my curtains, turn off the light, take off my shoes and go to bed. Rayleigh wants me to be a normal teenage girl, but normal teens are all about parties, boys and... Okay, maybe the first word, but not always the other two. Especially not the last word. I know this because all the popular girls at school talk about them. To brag, to be admired, it's stupid. Like this girl. I don't remember her name. She bragged about having slept with 10... And yeah, she's a bit of a show-off. Okay, maybe she exaggerates about the number of partners, but still, the world is crazy. I have the impression that children want to become adults right away. Well, that's also difficult, because it's not wrong to try something new, but it depends on what that new something is. With those thoughts about normal teenage girls, I fall asleep. What is normal at the end of the day? Chapter 1 completed. Chapter 2 Demented Nightmare. Okay. I find myself in the middle of a road. It seems to be endless. A thick fog is present. It's one of the unknown's forms. So you have names for stuff in your nightmares too. What is the unknown? It's many things. Simply put, the unknown is everything that is new, unusual, and of course dangerous. New and unusual, possibly, definitely. But dangerous? It's only dangerous when it's still unknown. If it thinks it can scare me, I thought this to reassure myself, but the unknown always causes me trouble. I start to walk, not knowing where to go, because I can hardly see ahead. Suddenly I hear a sound, a terrifying growl. I turn around slowly, but I can't see anyone in the fog. So I keep walking. The growl is heard again. Is it louder this time? It seems to be getting closer and closer. And then I keep moving forward, but with as little noise as possible. That way, the thing that made this sound won't find me. At least that's what I thought. I hear the growl again. It is behind me. No! What are you gonna do, Alice? It's like a duplicate version of you, possibly. I turn around sharply and face the menacing shadow of a humanoid creature with glowing eyes. Yeah, I think fighting it is a bit of a horrific outcome, but we're going to do it anyways. Fight the shadow. I can fight it. After all, this is my dream. But do you have control of your own dream? I focus. Exerpia's Sword of Light, come to my aid! Exerpia is the name of a light goddess in an anime I've been watching lately. EXCQ for that. As soon as a glowing sword appears in my left hand, I cut the humanoid creature's shadow in half. But as I watch in astonishment, it reforms. Of course. And the shadow pounces on me and I see only darkness. I can't feel the magic sword in my hand anymore. It has disappeared. I try to move my body. But my body won't obey. And no, why can't I move? I feel a strange pressure, as if I was running out of air. Am I dying? Of course not. This is just a dream. I just need to wake up. Have you ever heard of comas? I close my eyes and wait for some time. Nothing happens. I don't wake up. How? And there we go again. The pressure is increasing. No, I can't breathe. Why are we giving this CG again? And there. Damn it, I cry for help, but no one comes to my rescue. In reality, I'm not breathing anymore. My life ends here. Premature end 3. Don't fight what you cannot overcome. So that's why you run away instead. Do not look at it. Do not face it. Do not fight it. Just run. I have to get away. Now. And then I take flight without further ado. I run again and again in the fog, although you cannot run away from the shadow. Suddenly my body is surrounded by light. Ah, what's happening now? And we're becoming green. But also as well, the imagery around us has become multicolored and rainbowized. Rainbow-nized. I am teleported to a psychedelic place. That's a better word to use. There are spots of colour everywhere. No sky, no earth. My body is still surrounded by light and I can't feel my clues. It's like the very beginning of High School DxD, really, where you just suddenly transform, but for a little bit of time you're... Oh dear, am I stupendous? And suddenly, as if some invisible force has taken control over my body, I turn around and touch my chest, stretching my arms out. A white top with a green collar and short veil sleeves appear, and I clap my hands, short white fingerless gloves with a green stripe materialize. I touch my thigh, green skirt with a bit of white appears, and I touch my feet one at a time, lifting them up, and they end up long white and green boots. I touch my neck, which reveals a small choker with a small green stone. This stone allows me to make it evolve. I run my hands through my red hair and it changes colour. It is now brown with red streaks. 2 small chips appear in my hair. All this transformation stuff, honestly. Although my ears are not pierced, small earrings materialize. A white headband with a small green ribbon forms on my head. Finally, I touch my chest again and a big green ribbon with a silver stone springs forth. And then, we are now this magical anime girl. I regain control of my body, and I am transported to a road surrounded by fog. But yet... Heavenly gods! I turned into a magical girl! It takes me back to childhood. I've always been a fan of magical girls. Now, as a teenager, I have to hide it because, according to the others, it's not normal to like children's shows. Anime comes in all sorts of different age categories, thank you very much. You have magical girls in very, very dark scenarios. Madoka Magica, I think it's called, or the words are the other way around. Yet there are works with magical girls for a more mature, experienced adult audience. Precisely. And then the shadows. I don't have time to think further about it when I see the humanoid creature with the glowing eyes again. I start running again, feet exposed in full view again. And then, usually my clothes cover as much, but this magical girl uniform leaves my arms and legs, yes. Normally my skin would burn desperately, seeking the protection of fabric, but I'm far too busy running to feel this. And then, we get to a forest with moonlight and fog. Still running, I realise my footsteps don't sound the same as before, sorry. I left the road and I'm running on grass, then on a winding path. I must be in a forest. If only this damn fog would disappear. Nah. They say that the state of a dream is also the state of a person's mind, so if it's foggy then you are confused in a way. Dazed. Suddenly I see what appears to be a house in the distance. As the evil creature still chases me, I think that hiding in the house would be a great idea. Yes, that's right. Rather than being an open scenario where you could literally run away in any kind of direction, you go to some place which gives you only a few choices of where to run from and to. A ghost can go through walls. It doesn't care about physical space, but you are literally confining yourself to space. A particular amount of space. I arrive in front of a house. I try to open the front door, but it is locked. Use your magical girl powers. No, no, no. I then try to open the windows that are within my reach. They won't open. No, again. Then an idea comes to me. Alice, this is only a dream. Wake up. Well, pinch your cheek. I close my eyes and wait. Nothing happens. I don't wake up. How? And then you appear again. I open my eyes and without further delay the menacing shadow of a creature arrives. I am forced to turn around to face it. But of course, against all odds, the shadow, rather than pouncing on me to kill me, turns into a teenager. A tall blondie with brown eyes I know too well. Melanie Fortune. What is she doing there in my dream? Although it is a nightmare, it makes sense that she's there, but I try again to wake up in vain. For her part, Melanie remains silent. Her brown eyes are still staring at me like daggers. I don't like that at all. Melanie, what are you doing here? Alice? The rest of her words make my blood run cold. Don't you mean boil? Why do you want to gouge out my eyes, tear up my nails, burn my hair, and then take my bloody heart to eat it? It's like I've become the star of a horror movie as the Plana demonic killer. What? What are you saying? Why would I want to kill? Suddenly I fall silent. A desire comes to my mind. Yeah, what are you thinking, Alice? A dark and crazy desire. It's very simple. You already have blood on you. How comes? My magical uniform is now stained with fresh blood. What? You want what? A murderous desire. And you want more. So what are you waiting for? You have a knife, don't you? But how did she get blood on her in the first place? Yes, I have a knife, held in my left hand. It wasn't there before, it just appeared in my hand. I want to. The desire to kill her, Melanie. Something along those lines. It's distorted words because of the different lowercase and uppercase words. Like a creature possessed by bloodthirst, I let out a bestial cry before leaping on Melanie to stab her. Again, and again, and again, and again. Ah, you laugh. I laugh inwardly, while laughing out loud. Lol. If it's only a dream, it's awesome. Without wasting time, I disfigure Melanie. Yeeks. I cut off her nose. I gouged her eyes out of their sockets. I tend to tear off her nails. Who will be next? Hey! None of them are crazy, okay? Your perception is different. You're breaking this reality. Suddenly the fog lifts and everything shatters around me. like mirror fragments. My strange madness disappears as well as the bloody knife. I look at myself. There is fresh blood on me. I look at the ground. Melanie is there, dead. Melanie with her bloody hand, no nose, and big black holes for eyes. They're no longer eyes. They're eye sockets, or the remains of her eye sockets, but not eyes. Did I do that? Yes, you did. You did it in a bloodlust. Then Melanie's mouth starts to move. She whispers my name with a, "You killed me." No, it's not true. It was true. The dead woman's mouth keeps talking. She calls me a murderer and a blank. No, stop! You are a liar! And then the dream thickens, but the voice keeps saying cruel words. I shriek with terror. Suddenly the ground disappears under my feet and goes into a black hole. I fall into a dark abyss. Everything becomes dark. I fall into the endless void. Yet I feel something. A presence near me. Something inhuman. And what would that inhuman be? I'll wake up screaming, but in a different room this time. What a nightmare. I've never had such a horrible nightmare in my life. Besides, it's like I've lost control over myself. And then, me kill something like that? No way. I notice that my hair is still red. Good. And that I am still dressed in my green shirt and jeans. Also good. But where are my shoes? I can't see them on the floor by the bed. Wanting to find them, I get up, but something is wrong. The walls in this room are orange. Those in mine are a pale blue. The bed is old with a wooden headboard and frame. Mine is modern with a metal headboard and frame. We are elsewhere. I can't see my computer, a used model that I own thanks to Sean, nor my homework, nor my wardrobe. In a panic, I call out to Rayleigh and Sean, but no answer. I call again, nothing. Perhaps I should say, Mom, Dad, are you there? All I get is silence and an answer. That's an answer, sorry. They're not here. My parents aren't here. There. I'm not in my room anymore. I'm not at home. Well, at my parents' house. I am in the middle of the unknown. The dark, mysterious, dangerous unknown, holding back from actually screaming. I yell my distress in my mind. Exploring the house. But how did we get here in the first place? That will be a mystery for another day, folks. This is a very interesting tale to go through. It is very dark as well, because we're going at this from a perspective of somebody who, it's not like they don't want to socialize, and it's not like they're unable to socialize, but it's incredibly difficult for them to do that. And for people who don't have autism, it's, I'm not going to say it's easier to do it, but there isn't that, how to describe this in the best way possible of my own capabilities. It's like there's a sensory overload when it comes to verbal communications. So for me, it's like trying to have a game on too loudly would distort my ability to be able to say the words on screen. And in this case, with Alice, I'm sure that she wants to become friends with people, but her fear is always going to be in the forefront of her mind. So it's this continuous, endless cycle of always thinking, okay, this is the unknown, this is the school, these are others, we don't want to associate with others, the others are mean. And then we have two people, which Alice knows that they're her parents, but she still refers to them as their first name. Now, in her head, she wants to be polite. She wants to be a polite daughter to their parents. But in a way, she's being disrespectful to her parents by calling them their first name rather than by their kind of social status as mum or dad. It's a very tough scenario to try and put yourself in, and it's very difficult to side with either the parents or the protagonist in this way. It's very difficult to try and side with one particular side in this case, because there's a lot of difficulty here, and it's not just from one source. Like, the mother in this game isn't particularly what you would call understanding of Alice's situation, and rather than try and talk, she screams, and she is most of the time angry. So when a child is going through a lot of difficulty, it's not always the case of the child primarily. There's always more than one side. It's like yourself growing up, and the things around you and the people that you spend your time with, they all affect you in some way. Regardless of how little or big their influence is, they still influence you in a way. So I'm looking forward to coming back to this game and seeing more of this adventure in the next time around, folks. There is a link down in the description below where you'll be able to purchase this game for yourselves and try out this game for yourselves and see what kind of conclusions that you can bring yourself to getting at. I know a lot of my words don't really make sense. That's part of my difficulty, is trying to string together a sentence without mucking up a word or taking too long to try and say the sentence in question. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and take care of yourselves.